Nicolas Meyer writes, Hey, AMC Crew, I love the show and keep up the great work. My question is about how the filmmaking process affects your opinion of a movie. Some films like Apocalypse Now and The Evil Dead are infamous for their on-set stories. Does knowing about the trouble the cast and crew went through to make a movie influence your opinion of said film? I personally feel that knowing about the troubles make me respect the film and the filmmakers a lot more. Thanks and keep up the great work.
Mark, does the on-set stories affect your or influence your opinion of a movie?
It's got to be a pretty incredible on-set story to make me feel one way or the other. Something like Rosewater that Jon Stewart made recently, that was a movie where I'm watching it and I'm actually impressed because I knew so much of the backstory that I'm like, man, the fact that this movie was made and he pulled it off as well as he did. Usually in the positive side of things, it's more influence when it is an independent film. They don't have these huge like Disney budgets behind them. On the negative side, when I hear about an on-set disaster, it makes me like the movie less. If a stuntman died, like a situation with Expendables 2 or one of the XXX movies or that Twilight Zone movie where the kid died and Vic Morrow died, it's like, if anybody died, gave their life to a production, I don't want to go see the movie to honor them. I just feel bad and I feel a little dirty paying money to go see something where somebody had to give their life. So that's the only time when I'm really that concerned about an on-set story.
Christian?
I think it's a case-by-case thing because you look at something like I Heart Huckabees, that big blowout fight between what's his face and
Lily Tomlin and David O. Russell.
Yeah, when you that didn't come out until years later, but it's still.
It's fun to go revisit. I Heart Huckabees.
You watch how much those two people hated each other. Even when going back, David O. Russell and George Clooney, when George Clooney socked him in the jaw, So it's like with we are what's the name of that movie? We Are Kings. I forget.
Three Kings.
Three Kings. So when you watch. It's basically every David O. Russell movie, but then there's other cases like you in this upcoming Fantastic Four film. Am I gonna be wary of it going in? Sure, I'm now gonna sit down and go, and if the movie has problems, I'm gonna in my head go, I wonder if that had to do because you hear so much about it. But the flip side of that is if it's great, you go, well, whatever the problems were, they fought through it, and I look at what they delivered, going back to most David O. Russell movies. So it's case by case.
Yeah, for me, I try not to let it influence me. Not only on set stories, but just anything that's outside of the movie. I like to just look at the movie just in a vacuum instead of the stuff like with Tom Cruise. People were like, oh my God, Tom Cruise is doing this. Da, da, da. I'm fine watching just Tom Cruise because to me, whoever Tom Cruise is on the screen, that he's playing that character, and if he's doing a good job at that character and it's a good movie, that's what I think of. It's it's very rare. I mean, there are maybe certain situations where you kind of get influenced, but I try not to. I mean, something like Terminator Salvation. You had the whole Christian Bale thing that happened with him going off on the DP. I didn't like that movie, but it had nothing to do with that.
No, his outburst was to do with the fact that it was such a mess. It wasn't his fault. Everything that was going on in that movie and everything that happened on that set was him just being exhausted and everything too. And everybody has, and I know we're just not the topic here, but everyone has a bad day at work. That was a bad day at work. Someone had a recorder on because that's like a one freak out for Bale. But whatever that set was, I think I was a little cautious of that one going into it though.
I was really looking for a Terminator Salvation, but it ended up disappointing like crazy.